And hustle is a word I use for problem solving of business kind, where you don't know who to go to and you don't know what to do and you start from there. I also felt that US is so talent rich that everybody is replaceable and you have to reach to a level of an Elon Musk to remain relevant in the US. Anybody who does any kind of science, math education is enamored by the whole Western civilization. I mean, they did push the boundary of science and maths for hundreds of years. So I think you should have targets. Oh man, this is the most exciting future ever. If you want to have a fulfilling human life, it's extremely important to have children and raise family.
What do you fear the most with AI development right now?
I fear a lot.
Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of An Open Conversation. Today I'm joined by my second favorite boss, Himanshu Tyagi. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Vivek. I'm your second favorite boss?
Yeah. My first favorite boss is God.
Oh.
So, yeah. But yeah, this is very exciting for me, starting off with someone that I respect and has helped me a lot over the last few months. So I'm very happy to have you on the show. You are co-founder of Sentient, but I'll let you walk through the journey and then I'll start picking holes and pieces of your journey to talk about more.
I'm Himanshu Tyagi. I'm a co-founder of Sentient. I like to repeat things. And before that, I was also a co-founder of Witness Chain. I've also worked in telco space before that. I had a company there. I still have a company there. And in my other life, I'm an academic. I'm a professor at the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore. I went to IIT like any good Indian boy. Then did a PhD in the US, spent about a decade in the US, moved back to India, joined Indian academia, which is something I always wanted to do. And then through times, I felt that it is time where research and companies can be combined. And one thing I would say is all the companies I've built are very research heavy. That's my quick journey.
Yeah.
The relevant quick journey.
So the one interesting thing I find about your researcher past and how you've combined it with business, can you walk a little bit more through research? Why did you even decide to go into research?
Because there's nothing better to do for humans. It's only a privilege to be able to push the boundary of knowledge. That's where all the excitement is. I mean, I think since very young, I wanted to be in research. It's not like I decided to be in research. There was nothing else to do. Yeah. I would say 7th, 8th grade. It's very corny, but it comes down to this stupid book called, which I don't like anymore, Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking. I found it around 7th grade, I think. And it was fascinating to see the complexity of those arguments. Although I think even before that, maths and physics is something any good Indian student grows up liking. So I liked them even before that. Maths for sure, I didn't know what physics is. But when I got introduced to physics, somehow I luckily bumped into this book called Brief History of Time, which I could not make sense of. And making sense of that book led me to research very early on, actually. So I always wanted to be a researcher, except that I didn't know who researchers are.
Yeah.
And I had a friend whose father was scientist. And then I asked him what he does. And he said he's a professor. I said, what? But why is he a professor? I thought he's a scientist. And I was quite disappointed that these professors are actually scientists. Then I learned that this Einsteins and Newtons, and they were all some kind of professors. I got very disappointed.
Why?
You know, my mother she retired as a teacher. And I don't think teaching is the most, at that point, right? 12-year-old, 13-year-olds. Teaching was not a very glamorous thing. So I did not understand that how are these great scientist teachers?
Yeah.
That sounded like a very small job. And a job, it sounded like a job. And scientist is unbounded, right?
Yeah.
You are inventing and you are doing all those things. So I got disappointed. It took 10 years to get used to the idea that scientists are professors. And then obviously I was trained by very good teachers, very good mentors. And this is a passion which a lot of people supported me in. And I think I got the most out of it. It's very fulfilling.
Yeah.
To innovate a new idea is very fulfilling.
But the part about teaching, you eventually came around to it because you were a professor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Firstly, there is still, I feel, no better way of doing curiosity-driven research. Second, as you grow older, you appreciate that the best way to go to depth of an idea is to teach the idea. That's the only way. And so teaching and research are intertwined. Of course, teaching is low efficiency. When you're teaching, you have to prepare, then student come in picture and there's admin around it and you have to think of the student. Einstein famously was not a regular teacher at Princeton. He had a deal where he was not teaching that much.
Right.
Because he was busy.
Yeah.
So when you get in that busy mode of writing your papers and innovating, then you're not teaching. But in your mind, you're still teaching. You're talking to somebody, right? Everybody, when thinking, there's a mental voice.
Right.
There's some third mental voice. So teaching is, I think, goes hand in hand with research. And this model, maybe 100, 200 years old, is very good model. It is now being challenged.
Yeah.
Teaching and research combination being challenged. But last 100, 200 years, this has been turbocharged, where universities became the forefront of research, and it became those things where likes of von Neumann and Einstein will sit next to each other and innovate and be available to students at least.
In your college days, it
Yeah.
sounded like research was not like a common path for people to take, at least at IIT Delhi. And then even then, do your PhD in the US, but come back to India as well to teach.
This is true. Among all the IITs are Indian Institute of Technology, which are, I would say, and a lot of people push back on this, I would still say the most exciting engineering colleges in India. Extremely good. I went to IIT Delhi. IIT Delhi, unlike other IITs, Kanpur, in my time when I was going, only 4 IITs were very big, and actually there were 6, I guess. Anyway, I only wanted to go to one of those 3 or 4. I thought I would go to Kanpur, Delhi, or Bombay. And Chennai is also very good, but sort of too south for me. So I was thinking of one of these 3. And I didn't know then, but among these, IIT Delhi is least research oriented, in the sense that the fraction of batch which goes for PhD and higher studies was the smallest. In fact, just around my batch, this banking revolution was happening. The great Lehman Bank was hiring heavily in India. And that's when I was graduating. So most people were preparing for these banking and trading and these kind of jobs. Very few were going for PhD. In my own immediate circle, among my close friends who are still like my brothers, none of them went for PhD. And so I was sort of an odd one out in that group.
What was the pushback like? How did you even explain it? Did they think you were like a loser?
No, I don't think they think I'm a loser. Why would they stick around, man? There's no pushback. It's like, I don't think a place like IIT is inherently designed to put your research interest up. You have to already have it.
Yeah.
But if you have it, it can grow it. It can grow it tremendously. It's a very heavy schedule. The courses are packed. The number of credits are very high. So it was common to take 6 courses in a semester throughout, and which is very heavy, I would say, for an undergraduate intensity. In that time, having curiosity is something which I think it's hard to grow from the curriculum. It has to be already there. And so I always felt I have it.
The reason why I ask is because I'm trying to validate my own theory. I think people that end up in startups are somewhat deviant by nature. And then you add another layer. Anyone that ends up sees crypto as, or Web3, that's another layer of deviance. So I'm thinking that you were naturally bound to end up in startups, even though you went on this research path. You were always going to end up doing a startup. I don't know what you think about that.
Interesting theory. I think it's true that people who end up in startups are deviant, but that fraction is increasing at a rate that, deviant is a statistical statement. At some point, it stops being deviant. But I would say that people who persist in startups and sort of take real startup risk, because it's one thing to say I'll do a company, but really take that risk. There is heavy deviance, and the more risk you take, the heavy deviance. You see, it's a very irrational decision usually. That's correct. And I hate the mundane and no matter how successful, I hate it. And I only want to do things which are not in the mainstream.
Right.
And it's my own metric. You can say, oh, this is very mainstream, but that's your take on it. In my mind, I'm always doing the thing which is not the most obvious thing for me to do. That's why this Lehman example, and this is very relevant. This was the most obvious thing to do for any person doing ECE, computer science in IIT Delhi at that time. It pays well. You go there. It's a good life. You start in New York City or something, like the big Indian dream is to live the American dream. So you go there and you start at that thing, have a good life, 22-year-olds making that kind of, it's small money, I think. I don't think it's big money, but there was a perception of big money. And you party hard at night, you trade in the day, crazy life. Because so many people wanted to do it, I hated it before. And I never got along with those trader friends. And there is a deviant nature. So one thing I would bring out is that I would say doing a PhD, which was maths heavy, was sort of, many people warned me, including my teacher, that there's a step down. You should do more practical. What scope, what this, why are you going for so much? Just because they say it, then I have to do it. Mainly because I feel that I like to go for non-crowded places. That's where I can make most impact, and that's where I'm most interested.
So on paper, this seems awesome. Has it ever hurt you?
Okay, this is how to bring in my wife's quote, who used to be the dumber half in the relationship, but over time she has so much wisdom that I realized I was the dumb one and she was just engaging me. So her quote is, she may have borrowed it from someone, that there are no bad decisions. It's only what you make out of those. And it's actually very true. as you grow older, this becomes more and more true. I have never found any decision to be wrong. Everything has been quite good, entertaining. At the end, everything is very fruitful.
This whole theory about deviance, I'm curious how it impacts the rest of the areas of your life.
You are asking me to tell people that I'm a deviant, which I am obviously enjoying. Why won't I say that? I don't think I think of myself as that way. But if I have to articulate that, yeah, I think there's few things I did because I was enjoying being deviant. One of them was marrying very early. Then other thing was that going back to India, I'm come from a very proud culture. I come from a village which is 300 years old to begin with, which is older than America. And as any person growing up in their country, you grow with great pride of your country. And then you see the world and you start realizing that, oh, these are very narrow-minded thoughts you had and it's not true. That greatness that you talk about is probably, it is there because you can see the cultural greatness and you can see the continuity. But we have to work for it.
Yeah.
We are behind. And that's something which drives me a lot because I also felt that US is so talent rich that everybody is replaceable. And you can go there. Personally, you can gain a lot from it. But making any difference, everybody is irrelevant in a place like US. And you have to reach to a level of an Elon Musk to remain relevant in the US.
Right.
He was not nobody at that point. So he was not in my calculation. But everybody else to me looked very irrelevant. This thing has changed recently, by the way. Elon has surprised me there that a single person can be this irrelevant. Everybody is like surprised with this crazy phenomenon called Elon Musk. So I felt that for me, I have to go back and compound where my strength is and where the opportunities are ripe and where I understand people by just looking at their face. That was, I think, a little bit of a deviant behavior because I was interested in being in US academia and I had that opportunity. So I went back.
Right.
I would say even from ISC, although there are torchbearers at ISU built companies before me, Indian Institute of Science, there are very few faculty startups in India.
Yeah.
Especially the ones which make any kind of money are very few. And I would like to say that Tejas Network from ISC, which is an telco OEM, is a 5G equipment producer, is a big one. Then Strand Genomics, which is a genetic sequencing one, is a big one. Barring those, not many come to my mind. Although ISC is behind this Indian Space Research Organization, it was built within ISC and came out of it. But companies are few. So these two come to my mind, but they're still few. I think they're doing this kind of, let's go and do a crypto company and then do a AI company is something different.
Yeah.
Making money is also very different than what people do in ISC. I don't ever thought I would like to make money. This is again deviant part. Just because everybody in ISC frowns upon it, I want to make money.
Yeah.
Not like I was born or raised poor, but people say, oh, why money this and money that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's make it then.
Yeah.
So there is some path like that. I think everybody has some trigger. For me, the trigger is being relevant and being contrarian at the same time. I feel that's been very exciting.
Was it always the goal that you would go leave India, learn all these lessons, compound them, and then bring them back to India?
This clarity is all hindsight. But the goal was to stay connected to India for me always. And the goal was to learn abroad also. Anybody who does any kind of science, math education is enamored by the whole Western civilization. I mean, they did push the boundary of science and maths for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
In the recent history, that's what they did. And it's a fascinating story, right? Like you read about Gauss, you read about Cauchy, you read about Weierstrass, at least in maths. And you are thinking, dude, this is such logical thinking. How are they breaking this down one piece at a time? Hundreds and hundreds of years of this thing. Yeah. Then you go for physics, and of course, physics is more well known. And then you hear about a phenomenon like von Neumann. Von Neumann is somebody who drove me crazy. That this guy, how can a single person come up with math theory of quantum game theory? Like the span is so much computer architecture. How can the same person do all this? And he died very young, roughly around my current age. And how? so I'm a loser. Yeah. You think about it, and that drives me. That's the power of Western civilization, that you want to understand what's the factory which is producing these great minds, and everybody wants to be a part of that and learn from that, because it's also human legacy, and you all have a part of humanity, human legacy in you. So I would like to learn from it. So it was always a part. I always had a dream to learn from everything that is there in the world to learn from.
Yeah.
And somehow remain relevant in the Indian context too.
Right.
And contribute back. Contribute is like a heavy-handed word, but be a part of it.
And these are like a broad variety of experiences. You had your research experience, then you started business at ISC, and now you're doing Sentient. How have all of those compounded into something great? Do you feel it converging into something? Or is it a conscious effort to make them converge into something?
Yeah, it's a conscious effort to make them converge into something. I'm very passionate about this idea that a true innovation grown into a true impact. People think that's how the world works, but it doesn't work like that. Anybody who's a little bit older starts realizing that world has all these middlemen, great middlemen, who are leaders. For example, kings.
Okay.
In India, who are known for the temples that they have built. But they never built any temple. They have no clue how it is built.
Yeah.
It's actually the craftsmen who built it. Like the Kailasha temple in South India, 700 AD, was built over 120 years. It's dug out of a single piece of rock, upside down. Now this temple is built by Rashtrakutas, but not really. It's built by a family of architects who plans. Nobody knows their names. Plan something for 100 years. Record keeping must be great. Architecture must be great. It was not a single generation builder. Nobody knows their name. This is where we started. The people who you know what they did were the people who were leaders who coordinated. Of course, kings are also sort of individual contributors. They attack also, and maybe they were themselves great warriors. But I doubt it. Like this is just like you don't know who the real craftsman were. Maybe you don't know who the real warrior was.
Right.
There are few great people like Genghis Khan who are known to be great warriors themselves.
Yeah.
But I feel there's a lot of coordination and a lot of leadership in aligning people, which gets a lot of value. And I respect that a lot. Craftsmen are the actual originators of pushing the boundary. And I am always in this idea of thinking, why do we need to have this separation? Because the biggest impact of an idea can come only when the craftsman is taking it out. So with technology, this separation, this invisible craftsman came to the forefront. We were discussing this. With paper coming in, now authorship came in. With authorship coming in, people know who these people are. The reason you know Newton and not just this came out of England is because paper had authorship and all that, right? And otherwise it will be all in the name of the king.
Yeah.
Of course, right? If you go to older India, there are some names, but mostly attributed with an era, with a generation.
Right.
The actual people are not known, right? Even the Vedas, nobody knows. And even Mahabharata in India is Vedvyas. But it's collection of many, many stories, not a single person. So this authorship was not there. Now it is there. And now in the current era with YouTube and with this kind of social media and internet, we have reached a place where individuals who are building things are very well known.
Right.
They are a brand on their own. It's not that they are running it, they're a brand on their own. And that's why you hear something like Zuck coming and acquiring this team. He can acquire this because this teams, they're a company of their own. They're a brand of their own. So this is second phase. I don't think this is the final phase. I think this final phase is of the tech Uberman I would say Elon is a little bit different. I don't have the depth to understand his actual operation, but in whatever you hear publicly, he's a bit different. It looks like he is the real thought architect of what he's building.
Right.
And of course, to scale, you have to coordinate team. That's the kind of entrepreneur, the one person company tech entrepreneur that everybody talks about.
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about that. That can an actual idea which has a depth, which is new, and then you create impact about it. What would those companies look like? How would those companies be built?
Right.
So I see most of my journey in that direction. And company is a name we use so that we understand. Basically, it's a self-sustained economic ecosystem. We like this model of consumer and some builder. That's a traditional model, but there are other models, like there are shared economy models and there are all those things. So I'm very interested in that idea.
Yeah.
And blockchain has actually seen a lot of that ideas, That's one passion I have about, that's one respect and passion I have towards crypto. That crypto is sort of, it turbocharged those ideas.
This thesis that previously and now we're talking about, this took, let's say, 2 decades of work to come up with.
For me?
Yeah.
I have to give credit to Pramod to somewhat help me articulate it this way as well. To be fair, I grew up as a millennial. Social media was coming inside of me, right? So Orkut in India to Facebook, to Twitter, this sort of 3. And then YouTube, I think, is a very different thing. And TikTok, not so keen on TikTok. I've never been, just because I missed that bus. It took me very long to realize the social phenomenon around it, that this is the idea which is happening. So what I'm articulating is in the current context. Earlier, it was like people, I would say the unique thing about me is, it's not like I'm a pure mathematician, but I know enough maths and I know enough engineering. That's the very unique thing about me. That's what I've used for everything I do. Like everybody has to find the unique strength. My unique strength is that I know, let's say, a 5G stack in depth. I know maths in depth, and I know AI in depth, maths part of it because of it. So that's my unique strength. The tech and math depth is my unique strength. And I always thought that, and I want to, it's not like I've done it in the past. I always feel that this kind of combination I want to use to make new things, which are, so I think of this boundary of human knowledge, and research can push this boundary. but then somebody else has to take this knowledge and convert it into something big. Now that's not the case anymore. You can do it yourself. That structure I had, but what I didn't realize was that this is not only my problem. Everybody is thinking about it in a very different way. The idea of liberation of anybody with whatever strength they have to come and build something around it is what social media has unleashed. And the articulation I just gave is sort of like that. That's how Pramod helped me articulate it. The reason I never thought about it is because you too, we are from a very different era. I'll tell you why. This permission and permissionless thing. This is what Pramod helped me articulate. Pramod is my co-founder at Sentient and a professor at Princeton. Also my mentor, long-time mentor. The permission world, which I and you belong to, is where you go, you clear exams, you clear maths Olympiads, you clear IIT exams, whatever you clear.
Sure.
And then you come to a place. From that place, it's only the likes of you.
Gate by gate, and keep going up. Yeah.
And then in this place, now you get the entry to the next level. And everybody will be screaming, oh, why do they get preferences? Indian social media is filled with why are you getting preferences? And you are like, you stop, you don't listen to that.
Yeah.
It's far, like it's a cry from a far distance. You do get entry, you know that. And you compound on it. And it's not like you're throughout entering some league, but 2-3 leagues you enter, and then then you have entered the permission world of greatness, where you get access to top companies to work at, where you get access to very tight circles to work at, and where you get access to all the great minds to discuss things. Academia is a clique like that too. This is the permission world. Very good, because quality control is very systematic.
Yes.
Peer-to-peer reviews, quality control is very systematic. So trust is high. What is said is quite hard reviewed and everything is checked. Very good. The idea which came about was, in doing so, you are blocking out many, and you are losing out on a lot, right? And it's not like maths, it's basically society. So this pressure, which is majority, in world, majority always wins over minority, I feel, in the long term.
Yes.
And so this majority, which is also innovative, will break walls. With social media, that this permission system got challenged in the most significant way. That now everybody in the permissionless world, whatever opportunities exist for permission world creatures, will agree for permissionless world creatures also, because they will create that for themselves by showing the skills on social media, by showing. It's not happening in research right now, by the way. I would say.
Do you think it will?
I doubt it. I might be wrong. These are the kind of predictions in which I get wrong, but if I have to bet, I'll bet on it cannot happen outside permission world. In research, there is no grand researcher yet who was not trained in the permission world, who didn't clear any exam early on, who was not in a great university. There are few like one-off examples here and there, but they are insignificant to count for anything. Most researchers did very well. The stories about Einstein not doing well in some class are fake. Always a genius. Like there was like is known to be, and not in the way that genius in an extraordinary way. Always training. Training is like, it's a limited supply thing,
right?
And so there'll always be competition to get that. And just like everybody cannot access a great coach, everybody cannot access a great mentor, a training program.
Yeah.
So far, has not happened. But I won't be surprised with AI and information asymmetry broken down. Maybe you can have AI mentors who can walk you through how to do this. I won't be surprised. But right now, if you ask me to bet, I think it's very hard. I don't think it can happen.
You've accumulated all this wisdom. And
like an old man.
Yeah. I'm giving you maybe too high of a compliment. You still have more wisdom to accumulate. You've gotten all this knowledge over 20 years, which is very hard to get because of the experience you've gotten. How do you pass this on? How does this affect the way that you raise your child?
I don't think I have that kind of structure to pass it on, but I have few things about it. So firstly, about children, yes, I have 2 daughters. And it's extremely important. And I don't know why people are even questioning it. Even I question it. This is some stupid thing you do when you're very young. It's extremely important to have children and raise families if you want to have a fulfilling human life. That's my take on it. Right. I know I have even friends who never married and push back on this thing. But I think it's rather idiotic to not indulge in the most basic of human emotions and basic biological emotion. And I can't believe it that you are giving this away. It's one of the most fulfilling experiences, and I believe it's because of biology. Yeah. That's what I've been told. But I don't know so much about biology, so I can only say it is fulfilling.
Yeah.
And this is one part of it. It is fulfilling mostly because I really believe in this cultural inheritance.
Yes.
I really believe in it. There are these thousands and thousands years of knowledge which are passed on, which is why I believe a civilization like India, China will always revive, because it's not today's, it's forever. and there's a good compounding mechanism within the society. Indians know about it. There are certain sects of people who have been traders for thousands of years, and they are always good.
Yeah.
And whenever money comes, they get it, right? Like if you look at the last name of people who are co-founders and who are leading founders in India, you will make a pattern out of it. And it was not like they were continuously rich. How did they get this access? So there is this cultural knowledge which is there. I believe in it. Now, children is the micro economy of cultural knowledge.
Yeah.
Where this is the macro. The micro is what you learn and how do you would like to pass it on to your children. The only problem here is that you can't put too much structure in it.
Yeah.
Because children are actually smarter than you because they are very pure and they are very experimental. They are learning from experiences. So my own take on it is that it's very hard to make a theoretical construct and pass it on to your kids that this is how you should do things. In fact, I'm amazed about how my elder daughter teaches me various things. I'm observing her very hard about how she reacts in situations. And I learn a lot from it.
Like what?
Many things. I learn a lot from you too.
Yeah.
but more from her because you are spoiled and polluted now, too old. But she's very young, so she has very pure, like how she navigates social situations. I love it. How somebody who doesn't have any background does it. I think kids these days, if they are a little bit privileged, they are entering the social situations very early. So we'll stay in a different city from where I grew up. That makes you not immigrant, but same country, but somewhat new culture. You get into it. So that gives this thing. I like how she approaches new idea, new topic, which she has no idea about. A very concrete thing will be maths. I love how she approaches maths. I, because of my stupid training, always think of what structure I can put in. Is it an algebra question? Is it what tools can I throw at it? So I go over that list and try, I can apply that trick, this trick. She, as a pure problem solver, because she's a kid, will immediately start making examples. Very pure examples, 5 examples, which is a very, like, pattern is the first thing she approaches. No theories to build around, right?
Yeah.
And that's very interesting. And how do I pass on this knowledge, what I have? The only way is by spending time and talking, just like we are exchanging knowledge.
Yeah.
I think if you try to pass it on in a hard way, which, for example, and my parents are very loving, but parents of my parents' generation would like to do is they would say, you should do this because we did this. That may be effective too, was effective, I would say, but I feel that is not completely effective. They're putting out structures which they themselves never followed. So I try to refrain from putting out this structural wisdom on my daughter, although I can't help myself in most cases. but I try to consciously refrain and just observe her and talk to her. That's how I think you enjoy with your kids and pass on knowledge.
An interesting idea you just mentioned is this: the freedom of creation, where you don't have any learned structures and you just go explore. I feel like AI has enabled those people to explode. Do you think you can apply the same thing to building a startup? So you've done enterprise startup, now you're doing consumer startup with Sentient.
Is Sentient a consumer startup? I guess.
Yeah.
These labels, like,
we don't have to label it like that.
I can't make sense of these labels. I know this is something which I have to talk to more MBA people to understand. They're good with labels, I think.
Yeah. Can you apply that same freedom of exploration to building a startup? Have you? Or is it just going through structures and things have been taught? There's only one way to do a startup.
I think I've only seen 0 to 1 startups. Even the enterprise startup that I built is not like 100 client startup. There are like 3 clients and anybody who is still building, Sentient, we are still building.
Yeah.
Has a lot of failure stories, more failure than success stories. 0 to 1 is just chaos.
Yeah.
No structure. And in fact, no structure. What does no structure mean? Even this thesis that does structure help or not will be revisited several times. So I, like many people, was enamored by Amazon and the story of mechanisms.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of friends who work at mechanisms. And before I entered building companies, I would indulge in these conversations with them. Great people. They build the biggest operation machinery in the world. And this one wisdom they have is people don't matter. Mechanisms matter.
Right.
And people can be replaced and trained. That's one big wisdom. And which means make structures, make metrics to drive people and make things happen that way. The problem with this wisdom is that you can operationalize any process once you have solved it once successfully. Before you have solved it, there's nothing to operationalize. And once you have it, I agree. Once you've done something, now you want to repeat it every day. Yeah, operationalize. But the hardest part is that what if you have never done this part? What if you have never raised large capital? What if you have never hired a kick-ass team? What if you have never built a great consumer product? you don't know how to understand what user want. Like AI products, one of the big challenge in AI consumer product is the requirement is very intent type. Some of them are value driven, that you do something, automate your travel. This is value driven things. Right. But getting a great answer is not a value driven thing. It's very complex. Yeah. When the competition exists, this exists. What if you have never done it? This knowledge exists, but to make it operational and make it for you, none of the formula applies. It can only guide you. All these self-help books you can keep on reading. Yeah. I never read this kind of books before, but actually they are very helpful. The reason I would never read a book like 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel, which I like a lot now. In vacuum, those books don't make sense because they're saying obvious things. Yes. When you just read it, it's like be a good person. Yeah, these are small ideas. Right. And especially for a researcher like me or any researcher, the bar of calling something an idea is very high. Oh, what's new in this? What's new in this? The point is these ideas which are so simple only make sense in context. So hard things about hard things. What's this book about a guy making some 5 deals here and there and winging things? Right? Yeah. Context. You will see that these situations come every day in 0 to 1. And you will see that you have to deserve the luxury of a structure. It's not day one that, oh, I have this structure and goes, now everything is solved. I built this great sales team who will, these are their metrics. These are all luxuries you cannot afford in 0 to 1. You have to first pay your dues and get to that place where structure helps you. That's one learning I have. Right. So I keep on shifting between this structure and hustle. A new problem hustle is very important, I feel. And hustle is a word I use for problem solving of business kind. Where you don't know who to go to and you don't know what to do and you start from there. Yeah. And then you collect team and you interview people and I don't know what. You know what it is. Sure. That's what we do every day. Yeah.
So it sounds like if I asked you what are like the green flags of a 0 to 1 startup, the only advice you would have is just say, keep going, just persist. There's actually no structure that you can, or no advice you can really give them.
Oh, that's not correct. Yeah, that's a very good point. Okay. So what is structureless structure? So I think you should have targets. You should be very critical on time. The easiest thing to do, because typically you are on high rush. Yeah. Every day is super exciting. And you may be running out of money, but it's still exciting. Yeah. Because you are rushing towards, it's like a college fest. I don't know. have you been involved in any kind of fest organization? I don't know, college fest.
We had lawn parties at Princeton.
Yeah.
So, big party, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like college fest in India are very big events. 100,000 people come for example, my undergrad college fest.
That's insane.
It is done by students in IIT Delhi. That's one of the big things. If you look at the founders, the successful Indian founders which have come, who were organizers of this college fest, it's very high. Most of this Flipkart, one big Indian startup, sure. Zomato, all of them these are IIT Delhi startups. All of them were involved in this college fest. So I get a very similar vibe when we are launching something, when we are doing our campaign or anything like that. I get a similar vibe. Yeah. All of us are in the room, we're saying, let's do this. Very similar vibe. Now this is very addictive. You can keep on doing it forever. So it's very important to check what we achieved in this segment. Did we achieve what we want? Right. So you need to have that much structure where the goals are very clear. And very importantly, and this is something I learned the hard way, and I learned this from you as well. Very important that failure should be recognizable. I agree with that. This failure correction is very important. Yeah. Because this is fun stuff. You will keep on doing it forever and not even recognize failure. Yeah. So that's one structure that is needed. Second structure that is needed is team should be very, very good. Whatever best you can afford. It's easy to say this. There's some magic to be done to hire a good team. Yeah. One big lesson is money is not enough. Okay. That's one big lesson. That money is not enough. Obviously, because this is for the people who are thinking that when I raise, then I will do it. In fact, people you hire before you raise big money will be your best guys. Yeah.
And you're saying this from the top.
Yeah. I'm sure there are this is just my personal take on it. Right. That I have found that passion and a good problem and interesting people in your vision is much more robust than giving them salary. I feel that salary incentive is very different actually. Just as a basic thing, a person who is incentivized by salary, the worst kind of incentive, is incentivized for your company to drag along. Right. And drag along is the worst thing that can happen to any company. That's because you're putting so much energy, drag along is a slow death. You want to have quick failures or wins. Yeah. So that's, I think, what you need to have. And I'm saying it as if I'm doing it. But this is like the bar I set for myself. Right. I have to meet it. Third thing I would put is, at least this is something we use in Sentient, stay at the bleeding edge. The whole action is there. And at least aspire to be there. Stay at the bleeding edge. If you're launching something, when it comes out, it should be at the bleeding edge. Yeah. That gives you that advantage. In tech, that's very important. All the action is here. Everything behind that is there, but it's extraordinarily hard. The cost of standing out is very high. The cost of marketing is very high. The CAC is very high. Everything is very. Only at the bleeding edge, a player like us can make an impact. So these principles do apply.
Yeah.
That much structure is needed. But this structure about, let's say, how you run your roller deck for sales and these kind of microstructures is something I'm not so sure about at 0 to 1 stage.
I see. So
use it if you like to, but it's not a big deal.
So Sentient is competing against Anthropic, OpenAI, Google. What makes Sentient exceptional in this 0 to 1 stage? And how does this vision actually come about of truly competing with OpenAI and all of these closed source corporations?
I think competing is one aspect of it. It's competing with them.
Yeah.
In the sense that we're building similar things. But I see it as an independent thing. These companies and these closed AI companies. I think in an ideal world, there is always an open complement to close. Open is always the future of closed.
Yeah.
This is where everybody would go next. Just like research is open so that others can come together and contribute and push the boundary.
Right.
And then industry, which is focused on things which is relevant now, here, today, comes from there. And then they go to the next open thing. This is the usual progress, slow but usual progress over the last 50 years in which all of us grow. In this hyper-accelerated progress state that we are entering now, what changes the capital flow and even the printing of money. And so I somehow feel that this changes a lot of things.
Yeah.
Now I feel that let's do a business, let's do the small innovation on this side while these guys are sort of doing what they're doing, and then they will catch up. I think now this separation has to go out a little bit. Now open has to offer something competitive with closed to remain relevant.
Yeah.
Otherwise, no resource for any other innovation will be left. And I still think that the open's advantage is that it is ahead in innovation.
Okay.
Open has to be ahead in innovation. It may not keep up with the scale, but it must keep up with the innovation. The only difference we're trying to make in this setup is we want to help them monetize so that they can have the resources for the scale, at least the scale and the maturity. That's what Sentient is doing. Sentient's goal is to have an open source AGI. Closed companies will have closed source AGI. We want to have open source AGI on which everybody else can build, extend, innovate on. And as I said, monetization for this is a part of the problem.
Yeah.
To be able to get to open source AGI, you have to be able to generate revenue and generate capital for building that open source AGI because AGI is capital intensive.
What is the worst thing that can happen with AI moving forward?
Worst thing that can happen with AI?
Yeah.
With AI? Or
what do you fear the most with AI development right now?
I fear a lot about this concentration of power. I used to think I'm just saying it, but it's actually accelerated faster than what I thought. I fear a lot about it. I think this concentration of AI with a few countries and a few companies is a very big deal. It can lead to massive unemployment, and then it can lead to extra pressure. This is like what I fear most when I'm thinking about it, and if I have to write an essay about it.
Yeah.
At a personal level, I also fear how AI is sort of coming across as a pushback on human innovation. I feel a lot of people use it as an excuse that, hey, now innovative guys get no edge because AI will do my job.
Yeah.
This is also my fear.
Right.
There's this stupidity of people who think this way. And they are in majority, is my fear. That I hope that innovation does not take a back seat. That, oh, I can also write this way. Look, and you know this, right? You know, in all our experiences, in our businesses, in our experiences, now people are quoting ChatGPT a lot and they're quoting it in a way as if it's their wisdom.
Yeah.
But second level of depth is not available, and that results in very stupid decision making, that results in very stupid policies and everything. This I fear a lot. This AI in its early stages will create this confusion between people who have thought it through and who have not. And that's a very, very shaky thing. So this also, at a personal level, I fear this a lot. And I also see it in our everyday operations, in businesses, outside interactions. That's also I fear a lot. I think this idea that thought doesn't matter anymore because AI will do that part is more prevalent than what people acknowledge. And it's a very stupid idea.
Yeah. Okay. So dark response, but it's necessary. But show me like the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, what are you most excited about for the future?
Oh man, this is the most exciting future ever, right? Yeah. I didn't know it. The exciting part is the exact opposite theory, that innovators will win. There is no chance that the mundane can take over the interesting. Innovation always wins. This is a caution for people who are thinking this way.
Yeah.
Like when I see somebody saying that in the future, math doesn't matter because now AI, no. That's just a tool. It's a more powerful tool. So innovators actually will be hypercharged. They will go crazy. And that's the future. Don't fall for this other narrative. Build your thinking muscle.
Yeah.
And that's the future I'm excited about, where science will be accelerated, maths will be accelerated. In fact, coming back to that children part,
Yeah.
that's the future I'm training my kid for. I want her to think of AI as her companion for thinking through whatever she's thinking through. And there is some training for that one should have. It's a bit different.
Yeah.
And that's the future I'm excited about, where you are sitting with this super powerful tool to brainstorm. It's like having your student as a professor with you all the time, or, as a student having your professor with you all the time. Like brainstorming is always good when you are bouncing ideas.
Sure.
And now you have a very smart technology to brainstorm on and be with. That's very exciting. And I think we are entering the next phase of innovation for humanity, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Let's hope for the more exciting part. Well, thank you for coming on the show. The first episode, the first guest. So I hope you feel quite honored.
I'm very honored.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish we dressed better, but yeah.
Oh, this is Patagonia, man. Everyone, thank you for joining. Hope you all enjoyed the first episode of An Open Conversation. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.